After over 30 major updates, No Man's Sky bears little resemblance to its launch form, and while the overwhelmingly positive reviews speak for themselves, I can't help but notice a certain type of player in my comments who simply doesn't get on with this game. So in this video we'll take a closer look at No Man's Sky, find out just how good it's gotten and whether it's the right game for you. So let's open up with the good bits. No Man's Sky is the most seamless space exploration game that you can get your hands on. You can forget loading screens because the game replaces them with this, and this. Aside from perhaps going between star systems, there are very few opportunities to be taken out of the immersion. Simply the fact that you can go from walking on one planet to taking off, picking up a multiplayer mission, and then completing that mission on an entirely different planet with no loading or interruptions between is a serious technical feat that even games that have been released much more recently simply can't match. No Man's Sky also lets you explore some of the most varied game worlds out there. Yes, there's 18 quintillion planets, and that sounds great on paper and for marketing, but more importantly, the game worlds now deliver on the variety and quality that was promised at launch. From active volcanoes to islands, oceans, and a selection of climate types and hazards, there's just a lot going on now. You'll find different plants and animals on each planet, both on the ground as well as in the air and sea, as well as the odd settlement or trading outposts, which makes the game feel a bit less lonely. No Man's Sky also gives you Minecraft-esque levels of freedom. Want to build a base underwater? You can do that. Fancy tunneling through a mountain? That's also completely possible. But more importantly, you can also build large custom sculptures right next to your friends' bases. On a serious note though, the worlds in this game are fully yours to explore. You can even walk the full circumference of a planet if you want, as there's none of this invisible wall bullshit like we saw in Starfield. This game also has a few standout features which we'll dive into more later, but among them are full VR support including PSVR, the fact that it's multiplayer, cross-platform and even available on Switch. In terms of gameplay, you can pretty much have your own Star Destroyer and build a mobile base inside of it. The multiplayer hub is integrated in one of the most badass ways I've ever seen in a game. You summon it like this. And all the big regular updates are also completely free. So No Man's Sky clearly has a lot going for it, but there's an important question to answer that's key to why most players love this game, yet some just don't, and that's what do you actually do? Well, you start abandoned on a planet and have to fix your ship to escape. This serves as the opening tutorial to the game's main systems, but quite honestly you've done a good job if you even understand how the menus work by this point. I can't say it's the most comprehensive tutorial. You'll start to get to grips with the game's crafting system, which is a notable aspect of the gameplay loop. From your ship's fuel to base building parts, you'll have to make them yourself, and this requires having the right materials at the right time. Different resources are also found on different planets, so there's an inherent drive to explore. If you want bigger and better things, then you might begin larger scale material farming, setting up equipment on various planets, or building out capability within your freighter, which is that Star Destroyer looking mobile base I mentioned earlier. Resources can also be obtained through trading, and there's a pretty cool dynamic economy system in this game. Item pricing basically will fluctuate depending on the supply and demand in that system, and this even reacts to what you buy or sell yourself if you do so in large enough amounts. One place you can do this trading is at the space station, where you can also pick up extra missions, build your own custom ships, and dive into the pretty impressive character customization. Talking of those ships, you can also buy and sell those, as with freighters, and there's extensive customization of the weapon systems. You'll need these weapons for the odd bit of combat, which in space has been done pretty well. You can have multiple weapons on board, hire wingmen to fight with you, and even choose where to divert power to within your ship. Especially during the early game, confronting sentinel enemies can definitely get your heart up, and spice up what was otherwise a pretty benign mission. Now before we look at the rest of the gameplay content, this video has been very kindly sponsored by Gamevo.com, who are offering you 5% off everything including No Man's Sky with code AGR and the link in the description. Gamevo is an EU registered online platform for digital products where suppliers compete with each other to offer you the lowest prices. Whether you're looking for the latest and greatest games, pre-orders, gift cards or software, Gamevo has you covered. They've got games for every platform and also offer an inexpensive smart subscription that's less than £1 or $1 for the first month, and then just £2.50 or $3.20 afterwards. This gives you access to 10% off monthly discounts, 20% off daily deals, a free game after 3 months of membership, and even 24/7 live support. You'll also have priority for game pre-orders, exclusive member-only pricing, and access to regular giveaways and competitions. Their excellent support has led to 30,000 5-star reviews on Trustpilot, so your game purchases are very safe with them. They also have a great influencer program, so if you're a fellow creator, no matter how big or small, do reach out to them. So if you're looking to buy No Man's Sky or any other game, use code AGR to get 5% off, and don't forget to do that via the link in the description to make the code work. But back to the video. Once your freighter is kitted out, you can also buy frigates from other fleets and send them out on missions to earn some passive income. As for your own missions, you can bias them towards more exploration, combat, or perhaps even smuggling, but the various story paths are also there to follow. You may spend time obtaining the exocraft to help you explore planets, or perhaps you'd rather tame an animal which you can then ride. And if you fancy, you can even genetically modify their eggs to get the characteristics that you want. You can also find alien settlements which you then manage and invest in to improve their productivity to make a bit of money, but you may also have to defend them. Many players are also going to spend some serious time working on their bases. I mentioned earlier how you can build them underwater, and that hopefully shows just how much is possible. The sheer variety of base building pieces available to unlock makes properly unique creations very possible. The base you'll be able to build at 10 hours in compared to 100 hours in will be vastly different in the best possible way for progression. If you're more of a collector, there are rare ships to hunt down or repair, but equally there are enemy freighters to destroy, wrecks to unearth, and ship upgrades to find, which may let you explore previously unreachable planets, for example. Talking of upgrades, all of your vehicles, ships, and even exosuit will have technology slots, which you can then fine-tune with modules of your choosing to upgrade their capabilities. For example, you could get rocket boots or a scanner shield to make smuggling easier, or perhaps a matter beam that lets you access your freighter inventory when you're down on a planet. No matter your playstyle, you will find things to work towards. Talking of different playstyles, more recently added game customization settings help you tune your experience to your liking. If you want a more survival focused game, you can have it, and perhaps turn on permadeath for a real challenge. You can harden up or ease off the combat, or even go for the abandoned mode if you want that true lone traveller experience. So what's actually wrong with No Man's Sky for that minority of players then? Well, while I gave a decent answer to the question of what you actually do, I largely detailed features and things that you can do, not necessarily things that the game makes you do. This is somewhat inherent with open world exploration games, but there's no linear rigid story path that will show you absolutely all of the great features that No Man's Sky has to offer here. One part of the issue therefore is that some players see the shiny gameplay and features and then are disappointed when they play and find nothing is handed to them on a plate. It simply isn't a linear RPG that will serve everything up to you. Secondly though, No Man's Sky does unfortunately have some weak points. I touched on the tutorial being ineffective, and this does hurt the opening gameplay, which is already quite slow as it is. There is just so much going on in this game, and that's brilliant, but it takes some perseverance to figure it all out in the beginning. For most players that is completely fine, but others just aren't prepared to watch the odd tutorial or be looking stuff up on the wiki too often. The somewhat optional story element is also a non-starter for some players. The narrative should really be considered a light backstory that frames your exploration, and because of that, I think it's completely okay that it's delivered through just written messages. That said, if you're looking for a story-driven experience with dialogue and cutscenes, then No Man's Sky will fall at the first hurdle for you. This is an exploration game with the bonus of some story, not the other way around. From a gameplay point of view, the ground combat does stand out as a weak point. While there is some decent variation now in gun and enemy types, the weapon handling and movement system just isn't built for a smooth combat experience. Fighting feels clunky and like a bit of an afterthought, which to some extent it was, but you're naturally going to compare it to the experience of other combat-focused games, and this lets it down. It also doesn't help that combat is rarely framed in meaningful ways. Yes, I said it spices up other missions when you get an unexpected encounter, but when it comes to expected combat-focused missions, the depth is often lacking. But with all that said, No Man's Sky is an awesome experience for the vast majority of players. It's the ultimate rags to riches space exploration fantasy. You go from fixing a banged up starter ship to having your own fleet with fully custom ships optimized for every possible need, from combat to hauling or just exploring. You can hop between solar systems to buy and sell goods at a profit, crashing economies in the process, or just make your money more simply by exploring planets and cataloguing their life. The game worlds that you'll visit while doing this are simply spectacular. From the colours to the lighting and just the overall fidelity, it's better than ever, and don't forget the added immersion thanks to the lack of loading screens. The fact that you can carry out all this exploration alongside friends if you so choose is also a huge plus for many players, and the community around this game is brilliant. Official expeditions offer limited time community events. They're pretty much just curated mini playthroughs which offer more structured, objective driven experiences. Other community aspects like the Galactic Hub project, for example, where you can contribute to massive player made colonies, also show just what's possible with this game's multiplayer. Yes, we could do with some ground combat improvements and other things like an actually functional tutorial, being able to build bases collaboratively or ride in your friends' ships. But with the sheer scale of the updates that this game gets, we may very well be granted these wishes. So if you're looking for a great exploration experience and are willing to put some time in to get the best out of a game, No Man's Sky is without a doubt a must play, right now and for years to come. No, it's not primarily story driven and you will have to persevere as you learn the ropes, but for many of us that just makes it all the more rewarding. If you have any thoughts on this, then please do drop them down in the comments and feel free to ask any questions you have about the game. I'll do my best to get back to you. If you have enjoyed this video or found it useful, then a like or even a sub would be amazing. But that's everything, so thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.